My name is Eric Vargas, and today, on behalf of my group, I'm going to be presenting our project on the Indiana Church Fire of 2011. My group mates are Sebastian Sartorius, Bruno Areola, Alicia Yu, and John Stillwell. So in 2011, a 40-year-old firefighter died in the line of duty on June 15th from a roof collapse after an intense fire inside of a church in Muncie, Indiana. The units that initially responded saw smoke and fire from the top of the building. However, when they entered the building, there was still visibility and they didn't see any fire, just small amounts of smoke inside of the building. The church was built back in 1991 and had a large attic space where the fire would originate from and continue to burn completely unnoticed. And the fire took place somewhere here on the C side of the building, and the chapel would eventually collapse right here. And the fire department made their initial entry up here, and this is where all the water supply was. And the walls and the ceiling of the building were made of drywall. There were speakers and lighting equipment, as well as some large fans hanging from the ceiling. It was a 50 by 84 foot building. It was made of wood frame construction and brick veneer finish, and it consisted of asphalt shingles. And the attic space that housed the seat of the fire contained 3 to 4 feet of void space, which allowed plenty of oxygen for the fire to grow in a totally concealed space without the firefighters even recognizing it for a long period of time. And as soon as the walls and the ceiling were exposed, the firefighters discovered the true magnitude of the fire that was directly above them the whole time, and the decision was immediately made to evacuate the building. The roof began to collapse as soon as that decision was made, however, and during their escape out of the building, debris from the roof trapped the victim and injured others as they tried to escape out through windows or even the main entrance, and an immediate rescue could not be performed because of the large scope of the fire. And there were several response mistakes that led to them missing the possibility of a structural collapse. The first scene size-up was not very thorough, as the initial incident commander didn't do a full walk-around of the church, and they didn't recognize the lightweight roof truss structures that eventually would have collapsed. And also, because they didn't see the fire in the hidden attic space, they came in with an offensive strategy opposed to a defensive one. They didn't even bring in too much equipment, and even left a thermal imaging camera, which would have allowed them to see the fire and the heat a lot earlier. And there was also a lack of fire hydrants around the church. There weren't hardly any around the church, and also the building, because it was an older building, which they failed to recognize, it didn't have a sprinkler system installed. And another issue was that the church was mostly made of wood, which burned a lot quicker, and it caused the chapel to collapse a lot faster. And there are many structural deficits that caused the building to collapse. Like mentioned earlier, the building inside was made entirely of drywall, and they were lightweight roof truss structures, which are easily flammable, and they were connected by gusset plates. And this lightweight framework is classified as a type V building because it's easily flammable. And those lightweight roof truss systems are really such a big problem that the National Institute of Standards and Technology, when they did scientific research, they determined firefighters should approach these structures differently from normal structure fires. And they also determined that it only takes 8 minutes for these roof systems to collapse once they've been exposed to the fire. And because of this incident, because of this fire, in the NIOSH report, it was determined that fire departments from now on must conduct a full 360-degree surveillance of the structure, walk all the way around prior to fighting the fire. And firefighters have to be able to determine the difference between commercial and residential structures. They have to be able to recognize burn time and the effect it may have on the type of structure and materials. They also have to understand roof and wall loads and how much a roof and wall can handle before collapsing. And they have to look for the size, the age, and the condition of the building and make judgments off of those 3 things. And the fire department must not go into each structure fire relying on incidents previous to that one. They have to treat each structural fire as if it's a new fire and take precautions as necessary. And that was our presentation on the 2011 structure fire of Indiana Church. Thank you.